Hello, and welcome to the 13th episode of Recluse Horror. This is a daily horror movie review podcast. Just a little background on the project. Back in April of last year, I decided I wanted to watch and review a horror movie every single day. I have done so for the past 280 days, although this is only the 13th episode of the podcast. So, ran into time constraints as per usual today. I'm trying to reset my sleep schedule to something along the lines of a human, rather than going to bed at, say, 9 in the morning. So I've got another short film again today. Unfortunately, 13 is not my lucky number. So this film is called, in some places it's referred to as Mannequin. It's from 2017, and being that there are so many different movies that have a variation on those titles, this is the one directed by Zach McCoy Davies, or Davis, depending on if he pronounces it the Welsh way. Yeah, this was not my favorite. As far as the short films are concerned, I think this one is somewhere probably in the middle, towards the bottom, but not the bottom of the short films that I have reviewed. Most of those are reviewed in text, but yeah, it really wasn't very good. The movie has only one actor. It's someone named Amy Shaw, and she looks so unbelievably familiar to me. For some reason, I can't seem to find her on IMDb. She may not have done anything, and I'm just making it up in my head. But, yeah, she's an Australian actor, and she looks very familiar to me. She did a pretty good job, which is a shame, because she wasn't really given a whole lot here in my estimation. So, the movie, as you might guess, is about a person who is, attacked by a mannequin. I don't know how not to say that. It's not really something you can avoid in this. I usually try to be a little less cavalier with spoilers, but I mean, the title is The Mannequin, so... Anyway, it basically, Amy Shaw's character, whom I don't think they ever name, is working late in a theater costume shop and speaking to the mannequin, and, then weird stuff starts happening. She's working very late. It's, I think when they look at the clock, it's like 11:15 or something like that. So assuming most costume shops are 9 to 5s or approximately 9 to 5s, she's been there pretty late. The production value on this is actually pretty good. I thought the lighting was very good. The shots were framed nicely. The sound design also pretty good. The problem is that the script is nothing. I mean, it has nothing to recommend it. The script, the dialogue, I mean, I guess it's not dialogue, but the spoken stuff, the monologue that she speaks is fine, but there's just, the story has no meat. It's about a girl getting attacked by a mannequin, and it's kind of done in the most boring way you can possibly imagine that would be done. I don't want to give away too much as far as how everything happens, but the mannequin itself is in no way menacing, which is fine. Not everything has to look creepy, but I mean, costume shops, if you're working in a costume shop and it's a room where nobody is going to see anything except for the costumes, I feel like I would be inclined, at least, to sort of dress up the mannequins in a way, like draw faces on them or something like that. Maybe that's not really the case in actual costume shops, honestly. Like, I couldn't be certain of that myself. But it's just a mannequin. It is just a mannequin. And it's kind of a neat looking one as far as the actual design of, like, if I saw that in a store, I'd be like, huh. And then not care. I mean, assuming I noticed it at all, I would think it was kind of neat looking. But as far as for a horror movie villain or monster or whatever you want to call it, it's nothing. The pacing is decent. The production value like I said, is pretty good. I honestly think the directing of the film is not bad. I don't know whether the director wrote this. It's very hard to find information on this one. Probably a combination of the fact that it's not a huge movie and also that 15 other things have the same title or very similar titles. I think this director could easily go on to do other things. It's clear that there is some measure of talent there. There's also some measure of money behind this. The location looked nice. I believe I didn't pay too much attention to the credits, but the credits did seem to say that it was filmed in a high school theater. But it looks nice, and it works for the vibe they're sort of going for there. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about this. I think this is probably the biggest squandered opportunity in terms of production value that I've seen, which is probably puts it below some of the ones that I know had smaller budgets or, worse cameras and no lighting, because you had the opportunity and you didn't actually make it. Again, I'm not sure if the director also wrote this. If so, maybe stick to directing. Again, the spoken lines, not terrible, but other than that, I can't say anything about the script that I really enjoyed. And for a short film, you really do have to have a very good script, in my opinion. You can do all you want with, nice visuals and whatever, but if you don't have something that's interesting and that's worth actually filming, then don't break out the camera. To me, it's just not worth it. If you're trying to make a reel of some kind, like some kind of a demo reel, absolutely, that's fine. But that doesn't make a short film. It costs. This is the thing that always gets me about writing. It costs nothing to write a good script. It takes time and effort, and yes, it does take some measure of talent. But you can find somebody out there who, has been writing for a long time and never seen anything translated to anything. And, local writers exist everywhere. All you need is a pen and some practice. And not even a pen. I mean, you can do it on your smartphone now, on the train or on the bus or, Anyway, yeah, I just can't. Not having an interesting script, to me, is the biggest failing of a movie. I do enjoy well-written scripts. I think that's the most important part in most films. And if you don't have that, it's, you have to rely very heavily on the other things. And honestly, there were certain things in this that were done really well, and not really much as far as the script is concerned. I don't really know what else more to say about this one. Judging from this movie, I would be more than willing to watch something else by this director, as well as by this actor who I just swear I have seen in something, but again, I can't find anything except for useless information about her. So, yeah, if you're looking for a good short film, there are many others out there. I will get to the ones that I have reviewed in text eventually. And hopefully, in those cases, I'll have a chance to explain what it is that I really like about short films and what I really like about these specific short films, because there have been a number that I have seen that really have been good. Basically, as far as the podcast is concerned, I've done 3 short films now, and Pigskin is pretty much the only one I liked. I swear that's not usually the case. I do grade on a curve, honestly, when it comes to the resources, when it comes to the challenges of whatever they were trying to do, and I always take in the time period into consideration, and even taking in those factors, honestly, I would see the director's work, I would see the actor's work, but this was just kind of a bust for me. If you're interested in seeing more short films, I certainly think you should still give YouTube a check. I know that I haven't really reviewed any for the podcast with the exception of Pigskin that I've really liked. So, but I do enjoy short films, and there is a ton of free and legal stuff you can get off of YouTube to really sort of see the next great generation of directors and actors and all of that, building up their resumes to start getting into Hollywood or, wherever their preferred, sort of film community lies. So, well, that was The Mannequin. So for every episode of the podcast, I do one review for a movie that I've watched that very day. And I do another one where I basically just go back through my text reviews that I did before this and give any impressions or memories that I happen to have left from these movies. With me, again, for this segment is Sam.
Hey.
And the movie that we watched for this particular day was Re-Animator from 1985. Sam, how did you like Re-Animator?
Way more than I ever thought I was gonna.
I would totally agree with that. It was so incredible on so many different levels. So, Re-Animator, for the uninitiated, is a movie about a medical student named Herbert West that has dedicated his life to solving the problem of, namely death. He creates what he believes to be a reagent that can bring back the dead, and of course a horror movie ensues. Now this was actually based on an H.P. Lovecraft story. I have a hard time believing that this is in any way accurate to the short story. I think it's a short. I don't think it's a full-length novel. And it definitely doesn't match the tone. Would you agree? It doesn't feel like a Lovecraftian sort of tone.
I've never read any Lovecraft, but from what I could tell from not reading any, it's not very artful. And,
no.
And the movie's not very artful.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed the movie immensely, but it's not, artfully constructed or anything.
Right, yeah. No, it's the most B of any movie. Well, probably not of any movie, but it is so unabashedly B movie that it's really hard not to smile if you have any appreciation for B movies at all. If you don't mind watching something mainly for the laughs. It was really incredible, and it seems at least somewhat self-aware. I think it's pretty self-aware, but without seeming obnoxious and like trying to elbow you and nudge you and be like, see, huh? Aren't we funny, huh? How did you feel about the humor?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's super good. It's very, it's not, self-aware is kind of a weird term to use for it, but I assume it was. It just felt like they knew what they were doing and they knew what they wanted to get.
Yeah.
They knew the tone it should be if it was going to be so, like, outlandish and ridiculous.
Yeah. They knew the budget.
And that's really its strength, because, I had never been interested in seeing Re-Animator,
right.
More than anything else. Like, people talk about it and I was like, that's cool. Like, they tell you the premise, but they don't really tell you that it's a B movie that's like very aware of itself and the tone it's trying to be.
Right.
They'll tell you, like, the description of the movie, a story, and it just sounds like any other B movie.
Right.
And this is really something different, tonally, and it's constructed, just in its own way that it gives a completely different feel than just a average run of the mill B movie that's about reanimating corpses.
Right.
Yeah.
Of which there have been so very many. So I think we're probably going to have the same answer on this one. But what did you think the highlight of the film was?
I don't know. Probably somewhere at the end. The end's really, really amazing. Are you talking about specifics?
I'm talking about the film as a whole. The entire, every aspect of the production entirely.
I don't know. I don't know. What are you going to say?
That is the wrong answer. Samuel, it's Jeffrey Combs as Herbert West.
I know you think that, and he is amazing in it, but I really like Dr. Carl Hill, because he's like such a fucking creep. So you see, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's great. I think he's pretty incredible. But I mean, the performance out of Jeffrey Combs is just...
Yeah, but you didn't ask me what performance is the best. You asked me what was the best. The doctor's crazy in this movie. And that's another thing that's good about the movie. There's not just one thing that's good about it.
No.
The movie has like so much to grab onto and be interested in, and interesting things that happen, and and the characters are really good too, and the acting's really good.
No, it really isn't. I really loved Herbert West is probably one of my favorite characters in any movie at this point. I think he's played... I was never really able to decide whether his acting was completely over the top or completely spot on considering the situation that the script kind of put him in. But either way, I don't really give a shit. It was so good. It's spectacular.
From what I remember, he pretty much acts the same way in all the other movies he's been in. The few I've seen. Oh, really? And I don't know if it's typecasting or if it's just the way he acts.
Right. I mean, it's probably some combination.
But yeah, he always acts really similar. Specifically from Frighteners.
Frighteners? I didn't see Frighteners.
Yeah, we should watch Frighteners.
Okay, maybe we'll watch that one tomorrow.
But yeah, he acts similar in Frighteners, and he's amazing in Frighteners. Frighteners is awesome. He's amazing in that. I'm trying to think of other stuff I've seen him. He's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
He's in Suburban Gothic. I can't remember.
Yes, he was.
His role offhand, but Suburban Gothic's really good too.
Suburban Gothic is by... There's a director that I think we've mentioned on almost half of the episodes at this point, or at least half of the ones where we've both been on. It's by Richard Bates Jr. is the name of the director. He's
he's good. Is that what you're looking for? Yeah, he's good. He's super good. We need to review a movie.
Do you think we should skip ahead one of these days and just review? No, because the only movie that we watched to review
was Trash Fire.
Was Trash Fire.
And that was my favorite.
That was not very good.
We should talk about a specific movie, but yeah.
Yeah, we should. Okay. Well, that'll be something for the future when we're feeling like skipping out on one of these reviews. It just seems
all this stuff seems underrepresented.
Oh, very
and you never hear about it. And it's a shame because and Trash Fire is not bad. It's just not. I don't like it as much as the other ones.
No,
it feels too
the standards
modern. A little too generic in that way.
My expectations were way too high for that
because the other movies he's done are so good.
So good. They really are. Anyway, but Re-Animator. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen Jeffrey Combs in anything major. I did.
Yeah, like a major role. And we haven't seen Bride of Re-Animator either.
No, that's right. Oh gosh, we gotta see that. I just need to make an actual list instead of trying to keep stuff in my brain. It's never a good place to put anything.
I wouldn't recommend it.
And regardless, I mean, he makes for a fantastic lead. And I think without his contribution, this movie would certainly not shine in the way that it really does for me.
He's one of the biggest roles in the movie and carries it in that way that you're following his exploits.
Yeah.
So it helps the movie have that unique feel.
Right.
Instead of a very flat lead-esque character, which is actually in this movie.
Yeah, they have one of those. Herbert West,
which makes the movie kind of a buddy movie, but they're not buddies.
No, it is.
It's good, but that's the stuff that makes a movie interesting.
Right.
Opposed to just a stock standard.
Yeah.
Just corpse reanimating movie. Yeah.
So the practical effects I thought were great. They definitely went for style over realism, like a lot. Did you like the effects in the movie?
I love the effects in the movie.
Okay. They fit in with the era. They're very era appropriate. I think the plot sort of favors the same approach. Not really making any attempt to ground the method of reanimation that they come up with in any sort of real science, which I honestly think was kind of the right move. It really would have bogged down the pace to try to, come up with some fake science, whatever, not psychobabble, but
pseudoscience.
Yeah, and any kind of, pseudoscience. It would have bogged down the pace. And it really would have clashed with all of the other elements. The visuals, the visuals do not match a style where you're actually trying to make fake science that sounds believable or is plausible.
Yeah, especially with the sets they used.
Yeah.
The idea that they used any real science to do any of this.
Yeah, is just a really hard sell. So they don't even try, and I think that's really the better approach.
Yeah, they just go right over it. They're like,
don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. It's green.
Reanimating. It's a thing now.
Through the power of
Don't
green.
Even.
Yeah.
There's like, it's a thing now. Don't worry about how it works.
Yeah.
Which really sets you into the movie. Like,
it does,
it sets you into the world that everybody just accepts what's happening. And the movie's like that.
Right.
Movie's good like that. It just accept what's happening. Like,
yeah.
We're not gonna waste time trying to make you.
Yeah.
Talk you into it.
I did have a slight problem that had to do with a plot hole that I mentioned in my review, my text review, but I can't really remember exactly what it is. I kind of remember what scene it's from vaguely. It's somewhere towards the end. But I wouldn't mention it on here anyway. I just don't like the spoilers. And it didn't really kill any of the fun of the film. It was just something that they really could have probably explained, without much effort. And it didn't quite fall in line with the movie's own rules, which is something that I love it when a movie sets a group of rules and follows those. That's why I enjoy the first Freddy movie so much. That's why, there's a ton of movies that I like that do that. It doesn't matter what the rules are, but you should really follow them. Or if you're gonna break them, it should be for a very, very good reason.
Yeah, or explain a reason why.
Yeah.
It's broken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you kind of alluded to this earlier about the other characters. There's a romantic subplot involving, two of the characters in the movie, and it really did feel a bit tacked on and forced to me. But it wasn't really that painful, and it did set up plot points down the road that were important. What did you feel about that?
It didn't bug me.
Mm-hmm.
It gave those characters something to do.
Yeah, that was...
Because otherwise the movie would be too straightforward.
Yeah.
Because that's another good thing. It's like very streamlined movie.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel bogged down by anything. Same like it doesn't try to make up pseudoscience for it.
Right.
It just...
it's like 3 lines.
Yeah, it's
of
very
garbage
minimal.
Nonsense.
It doesn't feel... like, it just helps fill the movie with things and...
Mm-hmm.
motivations for characters, so it didn't bug me.
Yeah.
It was a little like pointless, but I don't know, maybe not even pointless because it did have I know the point of it.
Right. Yeah. It filled time.
It just was less interesting than the rest of the story.
Yeah,
much probably the case.
Yeah. The actors that played the couple really weren't the best either. But some of that is due to some slight script issues that they had. Where they stretched certain parts of scenes probably longer than was necessary, or longer than the actors could maintain such high emotions that they're supposed to have in those scenes. So it's not entirely the actors' fault in this particular case. The scenes didn't really affect the pacing of the movie, surprisingly. I honestly think it just gave you a little bit of a breather from the main plot. And the problem is it just stretched those actors sort of to the limit of their abilities, in my opinion. I think that's probably the only specific negative that I have of this movie. I mean, if you're watching it from a very literal perspective, then there's a lot of problems, including the pseudoscience.
Do we want to talk about the actors?
Yeah.
The other
actors.
Well, there's the love interest for what's the name of that character?
Herbert West's roommate.
Yeah. Dan Kane.
Is that his name?
Yeah. And Bruce, his real name is Bruce Abbott.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
He didn't go to do too much. He didn't do too much. He was in a few things, a few B movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really all he did.
Yeah.
He was in the sequel, which we haven't seen yet.
Right.
But Barbara Crampton.
Yeah. She's been in such.
She's in a ton of stuff. Stuff we've seen.
Yeah. Beyond the Gates.
Yeah, that's what I was in. Beyond the Gates. We watched that recently. Mm-hmm. She's been in recent stuff. She has stuff coming out like this year.
Oh, wow.
She's in that new Puppet Master movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The reboot that they're doing?
Yes. She was in the first Puppet Master movie as a small role.
Yeah.
She's done a lot of B movies, a lot of stuff. If you look at her credits, you'll see just a ton of stuff.
Right.
Not all of it I've seen, but I've seen a lot. And
did that say she was on The Young and the Restless?
could have. I wouldn't be surprised, but
yeah, she was on 94 episodes of The Young and the Restless. I had no idea.
She's in Days of Our Lives as well. But anyways, I just wanted to mention her since she has so many credits and so done so many stuff. It'd be dumb not to say.
And much like Jeffrey Combs, I know at least for a while, I know he was doing the convention circuit, and I know Barbara Crampton does that as well. I mean, there are just certain roles and certain actors that can make a living off of that for 40 years after their big starring role, and possibly 40 years after they did anything. And I really hope that the two of them enjoy it. I know a lot of those people get a little resentful, I guess, of the attention that they're getting for that, while they're not able to get work in any real capacity, unless they're just referencing their old character in another show or something. I certainly hope that's not the case for them. I mean, both of them do a pretty good job. Barbara Crampton definitely needed a little bit more experience, which she definitely got down the line. This was one of her early-ish movies. Yeah.
Credits, yeah.
So, but yeah, and again, like I said, like some of the problems with the acting, is mainly up to script issues or just trying to stretch out a couple of scenes. Did you have anything that you wanted to?
I want to talk about the director.
Okay, sure.
The director is Stuart Gordon.
Okay.
And his directing credits are very very minimal. He's only done like 20 movies.
Okay.
All of them B movies. Some of it okay stuff, but but what I really wanted to talk about is his writing credits, which he only wrote like 20 movies. But one of them is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh, really?
Which is hilarious to me.
Oh, man.
the writer, because
he's a mad scientist.
Yeah, I know, because he also wrote Re-Animator. He directed and
wrote it, yeah.
But he just wrote
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, Honey, I Shrunk
with no directing.
The story, at least. Which is funny to me.
Was that Honey, I Blew Up the Kids, too?
He did the character stuff for it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because it's just taken over.
Okay.
And same with the other, anything else with that.
Right. Oh, he did the dentist too?
It's just the characters.
Oh, just the characters. So did he write Dentist 1
Yeah,
then?
he wrote it.
Okay, he did write it. Yeah, he's a mad scientist. He just wants to implant people with things and take things and eat things.
Yeah,
make them big and small.
So I don't know, I just want to talk to you about that because it's funny that the writer
is a mad scientist.
director of Re-Animator wrote Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Very different movies.
And the dentist.
Very different, but very similar in the same.
Yeah, in the same. Yeah, at the
way.
same time. It's because he's a mad scientist. Oh boy, I love it. I love it. I wonder if that's why they cast Jeffrey Combs in that party. He was so over the top, and really all that. That writer/director seems to want is to be a mad scientist. I think this is the best you can do in the mad scientist sort of genre. I have seen very few things that have been any better. There's probably a couple of Frankenstein movies. Can you think of anything else? There's a really bad one that we'll be reviewing eventually that was a mad scientist movie.
I'm sure I could think of something, but yeah, this movie's really good. In an unusual way.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you don't enjoy B films, you may not enjoy this one. It doesn't take itself too seriously, which can be a problem. Sometimes it can screw up the tone. And I feel like this movie doesn't really do that. So if you can do, horror comedies and not usually B movies, I think it's enough of a horror comedy to, get you over that hump. But it's also not, there's no laugh out loud jokes. It plays it very straight. It's just ridiculous. So, is there any other things?
No, I really enjoyed it. I recommend the movie. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Agreed.
Probably some people wouldn't like it, but
yeah.
I've known about the movie for years and years and never got around to watching it.
Yeah,
I was very surprised by how good it was
Me
and
too.
how interesting it was.
I kind of avoided it because of all the hype. So many people that I know who had made me watch 10, 15 other really bad horror movies were like, no, but you have to see Re-Animator when I was in, high school. So it was really easy to just dismiss it out of hand as being like, oh, it's just going to be another one of these really bad movies. I think if you like things like Evil Dead or They Live, or if you can enjoy any of those sorts of movies,
it's very
Army of Darkness, anything in that tone, that
it has a very similar feel and tone.
Yeah. If you can stomach those movies, I think this won't be any problem for you. And again, pretty much anybody who can do B horror comedies from the 80s, it's not a problem. I think everybody should give it a shot. So yeah, okay, I guess that's our review of Re-Animator. So Sam, what's your rating on this one?
I give it 27 shrunken kids out of 27 possible shrunken kids. It's alright, it's a perfect shrunken kid score.
It's a perfect one.
It's perfect.
It's perfect. That's incredible. Okay, well, thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, please like it, rate it, comment on it, wherever you found it. If you're looking for a better place to listen and you don't like the platform that you're currently using to listen to this, I am on YouTube, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, iTunes, or Apple Podcasts, rather, Google Play, which means you wouldn't have to download a specific podcatcher if you just don't have any interest in downloading one of those. You can also find me on social media pretty much at Recluse Horror on everything. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, though I don't use my Instagram currently. If you would, if you want to reach out and contact me for any reason, if you want to talk about the movies that we pan and, yell at me for not liking your favorite movie or something, you can reach me at reclusehorror@gmail.com. I think that's pretty much it. Samuel, did you want to say goodbye?
Bye.
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 Bye.